Prynhawn da. Mae yna bobl yma, Ffion.
Mae yna bobl yma, oes.
Dwi'n
Prynhawn da,
poeni.
bawb.
60.
Prynhawn da. Gobeithio bod chi gyd yn cadw'n iawn. Mae hi
100%.
yn brynhawn braf iawn yng Nghaerdydd. I hope it's a really nice afternoon where you're all at. And da ni'n ddiolchgar iawn I chi am ymuno efo ni. Thank you all for joining us on this lovely afternoon. So, enw fi ydi Ffion. A dwi'n gweithio, so I work i'r Coleg Cymraeg Cenedlaethol as Welsh as a Subject Promotional Officer. So I work a lot with schools, Welsh Department universities, yn ceisio creu digwyddiadau, events, adnoddau, resources I helpu chi I astudio Cymraeg ar lefel A yn benodol wrth gwrs. Felly heddiw, dwi'n falch iawn o gael croesawu Doctor Cymraeg. Helo, Doctor Cymraeg. I gynnal sesiwn yma. So, Doctor Cymraeg is gonna, well, hopefully, talk to us for the next...
Yeah, that is the prime optimal word here.
For the next hour. Mainly focusing on the Unit 3 exam that you've got coming up next week. Yeah, you're all in, most of you, I presume, are all in year 12, so you'll be studying for that exam. I think it's next Wednesday, isn't it? So, yeah, just a little help with your revision. So, I'm not going to say any more. Dwi'n mynd I fod yn ddistaw, a dwi'n mynd I basio'r baton. I'm going to trosglwyddo'r enau.
Oh, man. No, carry on talking. Dwi'n nervous. Carry on.
I Doctor Cymraeg. Felly, mae yna chat, os da chi isio put something in the chat at any time, feel free to do so. Felly, ia, diolch yn fawr iawn, mwynhewch, a gobeithio nawn ni gyd ddysgu rhywbeth praw 'ma. Diolch.
Oh, yeah, I'm glad you said gobeithio. I hope gobeithio bod ni'n dysgu. I'm hoping that's kind of the hope I'm clinging to at the moment. Ond yeah, diolch I bawb. Mae yna lot o bobl wedi seinio fyny, signed up, lot o bobl wedi seinio fyny, and it's doing wonders for my ego, guys, so diolch yn fawr iawn. And yes, look, I'm just hoping that I can share some things that you probably already know that I think are really important for you to know as well, and something that I think you need to really cling to and when you're revising. Try and give you a bit of direction. I don't know how much new stuff will be here. Ond, you know, dwi jyst isio rhoi tips a help I chi adolygu for when you're revising, I chi adolygu. So I thought I'd bore you for 30 seconds with a little bit about me. So I did this course that you're doing. This course level Ail Iaith, second language as it was called and still is for some reason, but there we go. And I loved it, but I also found it difficult. There were times where I could enjoy it and times where it was a challenge, and that's what it's meant to be. You're meant to find some things challenging, you're meant to find some things really super cool. Like this that you're about to see is the super cool part, he says. But there's definitely a few things I've learned having now taught this topic and this and this particular exam in Ed 3 that I just think are non-negotiables. I just think this is really important stuff. So I do have a bit of background. I've done this. I've been through what you're going through. Dwi'n gwybod, dwi'n deall, I know sut dych chi'n teimlo. Dwi'n deall, I get it, right? But I'm hoping that I'll give you a few pointers. And if anyone wants this PowerPoint when we're done, please, dim problem o gwbl. Unrhyw cwestiynau, ysgrifennwch yn y chat. Or I don't know whether we're doing a shout out. Probably more chat. Let's keep it, above board, hey? But there we go. So, yn gyntaf, first off, I know the paper is split into 2 sections. I'm aware of that, but I've kind of split it into like 3 in a way. I shall explain. So section A is all about the gramadeg, really, and how you use your language. So there'll be a 10-mark question that's probably going to be either or, a cyfieithu, translation, or a cywiro, a correction. And well, essentially, you do that task. I've got a few things I'm going to show you that pop up quite a bit, my non-negotiables, but yeah, hopefully that'll give you some tips on those, but trying to give you some ideas of what to be prepared for. There will be a task where, likely, there'll be a task where you have to change from one person to another, so maybe first person, I, to third person, he or she, or something like that, or potentially a different tense where something might be written in the past tense and you need to change to the future. There was one that came up a few years ago where it was future and you need to write in the past, so be aware of things like that. And there's also what's known in the business as an ymateb personol. That will just be your sort of reaction to a letter of some sort, and reacting and expressing yourself by means of an email or a letter, like I say, or there'll be an article perhaps. Your sort of how you put all your grammar together and how beautiful it looks when you do. But the main thing I want you to know is dyma gyfle, this is an opportunity, dyma gyfle I chi ennill marciau trwy fod yn gywir, by being correct and checking over and proofreading. A cadw'r iaith yn syml, keep the language simple. Without trying to delve into philosophy here, Welsh isn't a simple language. It is tough. Of course it is. Any language is tough. But Welsh is a simplistic language. What that means is don't try and be over-articulate. Keeping it simple is effective in Welsh, a lot more so than English. So keep it simple, take your time, plan things, and go from there. So that's essentially the first part of what I'm going to moan at you about. I've already wasted 7 minutes of your time, but so this is a really good opportunity for you to pick up easy marks. I say easy marks, they're not easy. I don't want to patronize you, but marks you can just pick up quickly and by, thinking through little tiny marks rather than looking for masses and masses of text. And they can really give a good basis going into the scary Barddoniaeth part, I think. So what I thought I'd do, that was supposed to be a super fun lost. Look, you've all seen the answers now. Everyone look away. Right, you can look back now. I'm going to blame Fionn for that. It's a technical issue. So what I thought I'd do is I'd give you a bit of an overview of what happens in the changing from one person or in this case, a different tense. I know there's some people from the ysgol yma, and maen nhw'n gweld hyn trwy'r amser. They always see this. So none of you guys are allowed to play, okay? Because you should all be experts, he says. So I put some present tense, presennol Cymraeg, and I'm also going to go over the English translation. And I've also got some gorffennol Cymraeg. And this is how the question will be set out. If you look at the line at the top, newidiwch y canlynol, the following, o'r amser presennol i'r amser gorffennol. And it's really, really important that you familiarise yourself with what the question's asking you. Really understand, what am I being asked here? And even if that takes you 2 minutes to work out, I'd rather you spend that time working out what the question means than going in blind, guessing. Really do your best. Here, presennol to gorffennol. And if you can, once you're on that, you'll find it so much easier, I guess. You know what you're doing. But so, my something un, this is just present tense, something is. Okay, oh gosh, somebody wants to come in. Should we let them in or not? Yeah, go on then, I'll let them in. Go on, Fiona. I was gonna say no, but it's all right. So my something un, something is. Mae'r something un, there's a sneaky the in there. Oh, I've lost all this now. This is Fionn pressing buttons. This is dydy something ddim un. These are all present tense. This is how we form the negative. What about dydw we ddim? And you don't have to answer in the chat or anything on this, but have a think yourselves. Dydw we ddim, and you might also hear that as dwi ddim yn. I'm not, or I don't. Does dim, the opposite of just my on its own. Does dim, there isn't or there aren't. Rydyn ni'n, they love this on the corrections part as well. Remember that rydyn ni'n means we are. Dydyn ni ddim, there's our negative. We are not. Now, those are, you're probably okay with most of those. What I want to do now is newid i'r amser gorffennol. So we're going to do the English first. I'm going to try and get a head around it that way. So we've got something is. If I'm talking the past or possibly the imperfect for the grammar geeks amongst you, myself included, have a think how I might express that in the imperfect or the past tense. Something is would become something was. Once you've got your head around that, my something un, beth fydd hwnna? What will that be? Oh, sorry, people can't see the presentation. That's probably for the best. It's an awful presentation. I'm going to let Fionn try and sort you out there. So yeah, something was. So we're looking for roedd something un. Hopefully that makes some sense for you. So if there was a sentence and a paragraph, so they my pobl yn mwynhau, whatever, they're looking for you to write roedd pobl yn mwynhau. The something is. The something. No, I was trying to be cool there. The something was. Yn Gymraeg, roedd Yeah, pawb yn gallu gweld y thing? The thing that I've put up? Ydy pawb yn iawn? Yeah. So mae pobl yn gallu gweld. Diolch. Ydyn. Yeah, pobl yn gweld. Diolch. It gets better, I promise. Yeah. Yeah, mae pobl yn gweld. Oh. Oh. Pobl ddim yn gallu gweld. Is it worth me trying again? Dwi'n ymddiheuro. Dwi'n sorry. Dwi'n stopio rhannu a trio eto? What do you think? Trio? Go on, I'll do that. Oh gosh. Nah, carry ymlaen? Carry
ymlaen.
Sure.
No,
this is like what they do on Top Gear, this, where they just leave you behind if you're not with it. So hopefully you'll be able to get the picture pan dwi'n siarad. Dwi'n ymddiheuro. I'm very, very sorry. So, dydy something ddim, something isn't. So I'm going to be looking for something wasn't. And when we're in that roedd tense, I'm looking for doedd something ddim. Remember, I can send you this PowerPoint or I can send it to your teachers. We can get a way of getting this out to you. Dim problem. Dwi ddim, I'm not. In the past, or the imperfect, I was not. So, roeddwn i'n is I was. Doeddwn i ddim yn, I wasn't. I'm just going to give you some examples here of this. It might not even be this in your exam. That's a frustrating bit for you and for me. But does dim, there isn't. So I want, there wasn't or there weren't. Doedd dim. These are kind of things that if you've got some sort of access to these to practice them as part of your revision, do that. Rydyn ni'n, we are. So I'm looking for we were. Roedden ni'n. Uses the conditional endings, that one. I love it. Dydyn ni ddim yn, we aren't. So I want we weren't. Doedden ni ddim yn. So some people might be screenshotting this. You're welcome to do so. You might have my face in it then, so make sure you cut that out. Nobody wants that. Does neb isio hwnna. But these are kind of the questions they might be asking. Dyma enghraifft. Here's an example. We're not going to do it, don't worry. But here's one that came up a few years ago. And mae 'na 10 camgymeriad. There's mistakes on this one. Instead of going through the camgymeriadau, I thought I'd give you some tips of what I look out for when I personally do a task like this. So, tip 1. Think about how un causes a nasal mutation. Un, when it means in, is going to cause that like you've got a cold at your troin. They love this. I can't think of a corrections task where one of these hasn't come up. I believe it came up in the GCSE yesterday as well. So, so un plus, in this case, was cricieth, yngricieth. Have a quick look over those, or just Google treiglad troen or nasal mutation Cymraeg. Just have a quick check over those. If you're unsure, I've got to caveat this. If you're unsure of an answer, soft mutate. Now, a lot of people don't like me saying that. Please, look. What do we know about these mistakes? If you copy the mistake or you leave it blank, those are the only 2 ways I can definitely say dim mark. Because if you copy it, they're telling you it's a mistake, so you've copied the mistake. If you leave it blank, well, I've got nothing to give you a mark for, right? So what I would say is, if you have to guess, we know it has to change somehow. Please don't just go, oh, I don't know, soft mutate. Please think about it. You've got 10 minutes for this, 10 minutes. So triwch. Leave that till last. On just try. Don't leave it blank is my thing for you. If you are stuck and you know what, you've exhausted everything. I really don't know what to do here. Chuck a soft mutation in. That would be it just means you're not leaving it blank. Don't just go, I can't be bothered thinking, I'm going to chuck in a soft mutation. That's your insurance policy, your backup, okay? Think about consistency between T and chi. They like to chuck in stuff like hoffet chi or hoffech ti. Think about the consistency in that second person. English doesn't do it anymore, which makes it difficult for us learners, does it not? So just think about those. Knowing your endings will come in handy here. What I mean by that is there might be something that's your endings as in sort of your past tense, your present future, your conditional imperfect. There might be something where they've used an incorrect ending. They might have used the past tense when they want conditional. Just keep an eye out for those sort of things. Try and get context from the rest of the text. Remember to look for negative forms and how they look different to positive ones. A lot of things like my becoming duddy, roedd becoming doedd, bydd, fydd, stuff like that. They crop up. There's one here on question 7. I don't know if you can see it very well. Mae dim rhaid. There's no need to. Well, does dim rhaid. Mae needs to negate there. They like those. Oh, there's one of the number 10 there. Hoffet chi. So that one has come up as well. Your ti and chi consistency. Don't copy the whole paragraph, please. Paid a copio'r paragraph I gyd. Please, please, please. Just mae'n wastraff amser. 10 mark. I want to see 10 words tops. That's it, okay? My undeud, it does say this, mae'n deud yn y cwestiwn, peidiwch copio'r darn. That's like 101. Don't do that. Some people will do it. None of you lot, though. Spellings, missed apostrophes, they love those. They can and will come up. So just bydd and barod. The thing that makes it difficult, and dwi'n deall, I do get this, right? It could be anything. So you've got to be on your toes. Just take a moment. Mae'n 10 munud. And hey, if you manage to speed, and then there's 10 munud ar y diwedd, you found yourself 10 minutes at the end, come back to stuff like this. Take a moment. And just get them done. I'm going to finish with my grammar bit with this, because dwi wedi casglu, love that word, casglu, to collect, to gather. Dwi wedi casglu sort of what's the term for them? The usual suspects. We'll go with that, shall we? And but these all sort of bring up ideas of the type of ways these tricky examiners like to try and catch us out. So a question ydy, trowch y termau i'r trydydd person benywaidd, third person feminine, trydydd person benywaidd. And I've got roeddwn i'n. So here, roedd hi'n. I'm not going to say it's simple, because none of them are simple, but roeddwn i'n, roedd hi'n, fine. Technically, this next question, oeddwn i, is largely exactly the same as above. It still means I was to an extent. A couple of things I want to show here. You can probably recognise that as being something similar to roeddwn i'n. Hopefully you'll also recognise, well, the R's gone off the start for whatever reason that might be, and there's no apostrophe N at the end, depending on what's coming after. So I want you to be consistent. If, when you're changing from one person to another, usually I see an apostrophe N here, but there isn't one. Don't put one in your answer. Okay? Os does dim apostrophe N, neu dim ar y dechrau at the start, yeah, does dim ar y dechrau, does dim yn eich ateb in your answer, does dim yn eich ateb. Follow what they do. If they're not apostrophe N-ing, is that a verb? Neither are you. If there's something that looks a bit different to what you're used to, follow that. Okay? That's good advice, I hope. Fy mod i'n, that I am or that I do. These are worth looking over. So a bod hi'n in this case, a fod on or a fod en for you southerners in the masculine term. These are worth looking over, these link clauses, that I am. They come up a lot more in Welsh. We tend to drop them in English, don't we? I think I'm amazing. Whereas Welsh would rather, I think that. So we keep that fy mod i'n, a bod hi'n, a fod on, a fod en. Please be aware of that. These come up and they're worth learning. Just for your general Cymraeg. Maen nhw'n werth dysgu. Trafodais I. Hopefully you'll recognise here, this is a past tense, so I'm going to be using the ending of. Trafododd hi. You may see some of these without the pronoun. You may see this just as trafodais. That means the same thing, because no other person uses trafodais. Second person is trafodaist, trafododd. So you can drop them. For this one, if you put in trafododd hi as your answer, I very much doubt they'll take the mark off you, because it means the same thing. All right, there's emphatic and stuff like that. If they haven't used trafodais I and they've just used trafodais, I really wouldn't worry too much. You know it's trafododd hi, chuck that in there. Don't worry too much about that. Does gen I ddim. This one includes a preposition. So you may recognise that geni, genti, ganddo fo, ganddo fe, ganddi hi. Those are worth looking over as well. So what was the one I told you to look for before? The fy mod i'n. Have a look at your prepositions as well. They love these. And not just the gen. This one here, mae'n rhaid I fi. Mae'n rhaid iddi hi. It's necessary for her. These ones I'm seeing coming up a lot. prepositions using gan and e, which is 2 or 4. So they'll want you to go from my geni to my ganddi hi, ev or emi, iddi hi. They love those, so bear those in mind. Again, you want this PowerPoint, you can have it. Don't worry about too much if I'm throwing a lot at you. I'm going to keep chucking more at you, doing sorry. And I'm trying to just make sure that you're aware of these things. This one is a tricky one. Mae hwn yn tricky iawn. Ond roedd pobl yn fy nysgu I. I've seen these pop up. I don't, they're only worth 1 or 2 marks, so don't worry too much. But people were teaching me. Here, we're going to need to change the nysgu back to dysgu. So this is where it throws people. I'd rather, if I had more time, I'd have done a whole 10-minute thing on this. Os ydych chi ddim yn siŵr, gofynnwch eich athro neu athrawes. Just say, oh, this random person yesterday on this random revision session told me about something about how verbs can also mutate as well, depending on the pronouns. Or just print this off and show your teacher, whatever it is. It's worth looking over. Again, if this one throws you and you miss 1 or 2 marks, it's not the end of the world. They're them and they were the bead on, yeah. And ddylwn ni ddim, different endings. Ddylwn ni becomes ddylai hi. So just be aware that sometimes they're past tense. If you change into a third person, maintain, I'm still past tense. This one's conditional. This one has to be conditional. My main tip is, if you're asked to change the person, all the tenses you're given stay the same. If you're asked to change the tense, all the persons stay the same. They're never going to ask you to go from past tense first person to future tense third person. They're never going to ask you to change both. So consistently, at least you've got something to lean on. All right. Gwych, bendigedig. So here I've got another example. Mae yna enghraifft arall yma o, what's this one? Trydydd person they want here, the third person, and Mally Harris is female. So this would be, there's a tip in there, mae hi'n siarad, she talks about. I'm not going to go through the answers here. I think this is something you can do yourselves. Ond mae yna tips, mae gen I tipiau. Learn your endings. You're going to see things like gweithdy. I want you to know that becomes gweithiodd o, gweithiodd e, gweithiodd hi. Mwynhau. I want the third person. But if you look down on question deg on this one, it says hoffwn ni. So that one uses the conditional endings. Hoffwn ni, hoffa ti, hoffai e, hoffai hi. So learn your endings. They're worth it in this case, especially first and third person. But you know a lot of them anyway. Learn how E changes to iddo fo, iddo fe, iddi hi. I've told you this in the last one. Prepositions, especially first and third person. EV, iddi hi. Geni, ganddi hi. Or gyda hi as well, a few southerners. They come up. So be aware of that. Recognise the tenses when you see them. So if I'm looking at question now, gweithdy, amser gorffennol. I know they're making me change from first to third. The non-negotiable here is amser gorffennol. I'm staying in the past tense. I'm just going to change the ending. Well, I'm looking at ces, also past tense. Rydw, that's present tense. So I need to make sure my answer is still present tense, just third person. These are the kind of things that go through my head when I do this. Once again, if there's no un or apostrophe n in what they underline, you ain't putting one either. There's one on here that has question pimp roeddwn ni'n. So when I'm changing this, it's roedd hi'n. I'm making sure it stays. Whereas if it was roeddwn ni, I'm only writing roedd hi. Think about those mutations with v and a. So v being my causes a nasal mutation. Fy mrawd, fy ngwlad, all those sort of things. A, when it's masculine, is soft mutation. And when it's feminine, is aspirate. So a chath, her cat. But a gath. And don't forget as well, a ysgol, his school, a hysgol, her school. If that's new to you, don't worry too much. Just concentrate on what you do know. That's what we're trying to celebrate here. We're trying to celebrate what you do know. But if you do know that, be aware that they can come up. I think it's quite cheeky if they do that, but these examiners are cheeky. Don't be afraid to guess. Like I said before, whether it's a correction or it's a changing from person to another person, if you copy what they've underlined or leave it blank, that's a definite wrong. Okay? Try something. Please. Triwch rhywbeth a mae 'na siawns. There's a chance. Triwch rhywbeth a mae 'na siawns dych chi'n mynd i gael marciau. Os dych chi'n anghywir, o leia, at least, o leia dych chi wedi trio. A dyna sy'n bwysig iawn. Triwch. Try everything. And you'll pick up marks. That's all we want to see. Yeah, I'll skip this one. You can have the PowerPoint. I've just gone over some answers. Okay, gwych. Oh, apologies. They will ask you to write personally, usually a letter of some sort or an email. I've got a few tips for you, okay? This here is the mark scheme. I thought, look how cool I am. In a nutshell, because I'm going to try and... It's in a nutshell. I'm just going to carry on, Fiona, all right? I don't think anyone's laughing. In a nutshell, what I've done, you're welcome, is dwi wedi darllen y cynllun marcio, the mark scheme here. Dwi wedi darllen o. On your behalf, croeso. I do that for you. I've broken down the main things I see. When you're writing a letter, what could they ask you for? Llythyr, yeah. E-bost, blog. Less so, but not out the question. Erthygl. Portread, a portrayal. Again, it's just a piece of writing that you're going to plan beautifully. Pamphlet I've even seen. That's a bit weird. Nodding, a note. For me, a lot of these are synonymous. They're asking you to write personally and be as correct as you possibly can. What are the non-negotiables here? They care more about how you express yourself rather than the content. Yes, the content is important. You know, we want to give you some direction, but this is to be a celebration of your Cymraeg. Okay? Please keep that in your head at all times. There might be bits that you've... How am I supposed to answer a question like this? Express yourself. We want to celebrate what you can do. How amazing is this? That there are young people, half my age, don't rub it in, who have made a conscious effort that they want to be wonderful and they want to dysgu Cymraeg. We need everyone like you, okay? And you deserve to be celebrated. And our best chance, as people who've now learnt the language or speak it anyway, to see and help you celebrate is what you write. Please bear that in mind at all times. We want to celebrate what you do, so show us what you can do. Give us everything. Yes, try and follow the content, but express yourself. Show off a bit. I can do this too. Be a bit arrogant. Show off and get your points across. Imagination and accuracy are the key for me here. Imagination, how can I expand on some ideas and how accurate can I be? And I'll give you some examples of how I would use my imagination in a second. Please reserve time for planning. This is a 20-mark question. If you come out of an exam and tell your teacher, or me if you're one of my lot, and you say, so I use 5 minutes to plan, I'm okay with that. It might be a bit too much, 5 minutes, but please, there's time there to plan. Mae 'na amser I gynllunio, I planio. Mae 'na amser yna. It is important. 20 minutes struggling through, trying to just fix lines together is going to be more difficult than 17 minutes having planned something for 3 minutes. I promise you that. Get your ideas out, plan it, scribble it. The best things I see when people bring me their old scripts back is, oh gosh, I will email Erin doing sorry. Yeah, I will. Hopefully what you can hear of me is at least giving you something, but I will email it to you. Of course, diolch, Fion. So the best thing I see when I get my scripts back from my students is that they've scribbled and that they've planned and they've said, this is what I'm going to do. This is how I'm going to build it. It's music to my eyes. I don't think that's a term. So, dwi wedi ffeindio cwestiwn yma. I'm not going to go through it. It's talking about trefnu taith ysgol I Ogledd Cymru. Well, I already live in Gogledd Cymru, so thanks very much, examiners. But there we go. Moving on. And I want you to write, ysgrifennwch e-bost, write an email to the manager in Llanllyn or someplace. Write about a page, and you're given marks for, you know, planning and writing correctly. How am I going to tackle this? Dyma fy nghynllun, my plan, okay? I'm not going to show you how I'd write it. Just here's how I plan it in my head. And I'd spend these minutes. Bullet points don't necessarily mean different paragraphs, but if you're struggling, you won't go far off. If you're struggling, I've been told to paragraph. If you're really struggling, follow the bullet points, okay? Gawn ni gyd copy, please. Yeah, nawn ni sortio, dim problem. Nawn ni sortio copy, yeah, dim problem. It might be appropriate to link 2 bullet points together here. And if you're really struggling, I can see 5 bullet points. So I'm getting 5 paragraphs here. Always follow the tense of the bullet point. Okay, that first one there, hoffech chi aros. Would you like to, well, pryd hoffech chi aros? When would you like to stay? Pryd hoffech chi aros yn Llanllyn? I'm writing as much as I can there in the conditional tense. Hoffwn ni aros. Follow that and you're going to get your marks for it. Use examples. We want to see what you've experienced, even if they're lies. Okay, tell me, oh, you know, I want to stay here because I stayed there once and it was wonderful. Do not be afraid to chuck in a line in these little mini paragraphs you do for us. Don't be afraid to tell us your experiences. Tell us your opinions. We want those here. Don't think that, oh, this is quite a formal email I'm writing here. You know, you're allowed to say, you're allowed to show us what you've experienced. That you can still be formal in doing that, you know. At is to, oddi wrth is from. You can also say gan. Learn those. For the boring bullet points that seem to be like closed off, for instance, how many people are coming on this trip? 25. It seems like a closed question, doesn't it? This is where you're going to need to ramp up your imagination. Some people in this exam will write, oh, my 25 person or 25 o bobl yn dod. And then they'll be struggling then. How can I expand this? Es i Llanllyn llynedd last year, a roedd 25 o bobl, a roedd o'n fendigedig. Tell me why 25 is a lovely number. Please try and use that imagination. Think, how can I just squeeze a little bit more out of this? That's what we want to see. Bulk it out. Again, adding personal experience is useful, not only to bulk out, but we want to see that. And it gives you a chance to express yourself simply and effectively. Look to write about 20 lines, I'd say. Un ochr dudalen, one side of a page, okay? 20 lines, 5 bullet points, 3.5 lines each, 3 on some, 4 on another. That'll make about 20 last time I checked. So that's what you're aiming for. And it's planned it for you. If we're using 5 bullet points, 3 or 4 sentences each, it's going to make nice, equal paragraphs. You're going to get your point across, and it's going to be planned pretty effectively. Gobeithio, he says. Here's what went through my head. On this one, it says, ysgrifennwch am eich profiad, your experience of fod yn Gymro neu Gymraes, your experience of being a Welsh man or Welsh woman or Welsh human, whatever you so wish. First bullet point, already thinking, I'm writing 5 paragraphs for this. Fod yn Gymro yn eich ardal chi. So I'm going to try and break it down. I'm going to try and write 3 lines. I'm going to try and give my general point. Sut mae'n teimlo? How does it feel to be a Welsh person? Or, you know, you might be from another country, but you're chi'n dysgu Cymraeg, you're Welsh enough for me. How does it feel? Wyt ti'n falch? Wyt ti'n proud? I'm writing a sentence on that. Yeah. Dwi'n hapus I fod yn Gymro yn fy ardal. You know, dwi'n hoffi dangos I bobl, show people dwi'n hoffi dangos I bobl, fy mod i'n dysgu Cymraeg, mod i'n siarad Cymraeg. Simple opening. Then I'm going to chuck my experiences in. I'm going to try and give an experience of where being Welsh, I got to show it off, or I got to enjoy it, or I got to show my pride. And then I'm going to try and improve the situation. Sut ddylai pobl deimlo? How should people feel about being a Welsh person? So for me, I want a present tense line, which includes my opinion and my general idea of the point. A past tense, which includes my experience, and a conditional tense, which gives me a way to improve. If you can follow that, all I've done for each of these 5. When you have this PowerPoint, you can look at my detail, but you'll notice that my plan is present tense, here's how I feel about the bullet point. Past tense, here's my experience of how that has affected me or how it's changed my life. And conditional tense, here's how I'd like to see that improve in the future. Okay, so all of a sudden now, I've got a side of A4 split into 5 bullets, and in those bullet points, I'm writing 3 lines. Here's my general opinion in the present tense. Here is my experience in the past tense. And here is my conditional tense offer for the future and how I'd improve it. If you can follow those, not only are you showing off different grammatical things, present, past, and conditional. But you're also given a really level and open and really interesting idea. So that's my tip on that one. Di hwnna'n neud te, di pawb yn hapus. Again, os ydych chi eisiau'r PowerPoint yma, trwy sleidio, os ydych chi eisiau hwnna, dwi'n hapus i anfon hwnna. I'll send it out, dim problem. However we'll do it, we'll sort it. And yeah, that's my non-negotiable here. Nice and organised. Get your thoughts out. You don't have to do this much planning on your piece, but I'm just trying to over the top here to show you. Present tense, general opinion. Past tense, experience. Conditional tense, how to improve. And if you can just stick to those, you won't go too far wrong. Okay, the part we've all been waiting for, that we love, Barddoniaeth. Well, actually, doing carry Barddoniaeth, doing carry gramadeg. I'd rather done a whole hour on that, to be honest, because doing carry gramadeg. Ond hefyd, dwi ddim yn carry Barddoniaeth, dwi'n hoffi Barddoniaeth. I can appreciate it a bit more, and I hope you can as well. So I'm going to go at this in a bit of a random way. I think it's pointless me trying to go through and saying, this is what the content of Caerdydd is. This is what the content of Lerpwl is. You'll have been through that. And that's something I would advise you to revise. So what I thought I'd do, I'd go about it in a different tact. And hopefully it'll be just an additional resource for you when you come to do some adolygu. Ond, yn gynta I ddechrau, the non-negotiables of what I'm thinking about when I'm thinking about Barddoniaeth. We don't know what's coming up. I wish I did. I'll find out 10 minutes after you guys find out. I feel for you. Ma'n anodd. It is difficult. But we come to peace with it. Whatever you're given, that's what we're writing about today. And we're going to do wonderfully. And you're going to show off everything you know. Yeah, there might be another poem that you think, I could have done more for that. Yeah, of course you could. But today, this is the poem we've got, and this is what we're going to show off on. All right? Let's be positive, confident, and motivated. You're going to be able to say something about all of them. We're going to celebrate what you can say. Okay? So, Caerdydd, Iwan Rhys, sawl pennill, pedair pennill, mae newid yn y pennill olaf. I think you can see his ideas changing in the last verse. Beth ydy'r neges? Wel, I fi, yn bersonol, mae Gymraeg yn fyw. It's alive. Mae Gymraeg yn fyw, a dylai pobl fwynhau'r iaith, bod yn hyderus, confident, fod yn hapus bod y Gymraeg yma, that we have it, especially in one of the fastest growing cities in Western Europe. You're thinking, oh, well, if any minority languages around there, any community languages around there, they're never going to survive. Well, actually, Cymraeg is thriving in Caerdydd. It's testament to us as people who love the language that it's so massive. So I think that's the poem for me is largely a celebration of that. A thema, well, goes without saying, Cymru, Cymraeg, Cymreigdod, Welshness. It is a celebration, but there's a cautious optimism, I think, in Caerdydd. Again, you're probably clued up on all this. Lerpwl, Graham Davis, who comes from not far from where I'm from. Yeah, 3 verses in this one. I feel like the change again is in the last verse. I can definitely feel the tone changing. We'll look at this, don't worry. Beth ydy neges y bardd? Well, neges ydy, dyn ni'n colli'r iaith. We're losing the language in some areas. Thankfully, to the people in this chat, we're winning it back because of you. But there are other places where we're losing it. And dyn ni'n colli'r iaith, dyn ni'n colli hunaniaeth, our identity, a colli'r cymunedau, the communities. Dyn ni'n colli iaith, hunaniaeth a chymunedau. And it's really important to Graham Davis that we keep those. Again, beth ydy'r thema? Cymru, Cymraeg, Cymreigdod. Fine. Twyll, Myrddin ap Dafydd. Absolute hero, that guy. 4 verses. I think the change comes in the sort of 3rd and 4th. Again, towards the end. For me, the first 2 verses are more of a celebration of global culture, global sharing, of humanity. But it definitely changes towards the end. Beth ydy'r neges? Dydyn ni ddim yn poeni. We don't worry about ble ydyn ni'n cael bwyd. Are we really bothered? I like to think I'm bothered. And then I'll go to a shop, film a trolley and go, that wasn't fair trade. I don't care enough. And I don't like that. about myself. This poem's made me see this. And it's something that affects us all. Do we really care that much? Could we all do a little bit more? And I think that's dyna neges Myrddin ap Dafydd yma. Thema'r gerdd. Beth ydy'r thema? Cyfrifoldeb, great word to know. Dwi'n gyfrifol, I'm accountable, I'm responsible. Cyfrifoldeb, accountability and responsibility. A hefyd, y trydydd byd, the third world, and how, or the developing world, and how we think about people who are perhaps less fortunate than us. Where there is profit, there is deficit, of course. Newyddion, amazing poem, this one. Tudur Dylan Jones. Sawl pennill, don't come at me on this. Dwi'n meddwl peder. I can see why you'd say wyth. I feel like that. I kind of want to switch the couplets together, but I would accept it if you said wyth. Dim newid, is there a change? Mae'n a lot o tensiwn yn y gerdd. Mae'n a lot o bethau sy'n gwneud fi feddwl, that make me think, a lot o bethau sy'n gwneud fi feddwl, ond oes yna newid? It could be argued, but either way. Beth ydy'r neges? Again, we don't worry. Dyn ni ddim yn poeni am bobl sy'n dioddau, who are suffering. Not only do we not care where our food comes from, but then when ultimately people suffer, do we still care? I don't know. I'm annoyed because I'm not annoyed. I've said this to my lot before. I'm sad because I'm not sad. I should be sad about stuff like this, and I'm not. And I'm sad that I'm not sad. But I just get on with my life, and we all do to an extent. Beth ydy thema'r gerdd? Eto, cyfrifoldeb, trydydd byd. But a byd ar wahân, when, you know, we're all on this spinning rock at the end of the day. We can all be nice to one another, and we can all smile at one another. Dim ond serch. I love this poem. Dwi'n caru'r gerdd yma. And I feel like it's so... Oh, you can love it too, I promise. Enw bardd. Gwion Hallam. Sawl pennill? Pedwar I fi. Cyfrifoldeb. Cwestiwn gwych. Cyfrifol is to be accountable or responsible. Cyfrifoldeb is responsibility, accountability. What responsibility do we have as people who are from the developed world to those who are perhaps not as fortunate as us? Beth ydy ein cyfrifoldeb ni? Ydyn ni'n poeni? Are we worried? Are we bothered? Ydyn ni'n poeni am ein cyfrifoldeb? Oes gynnon ni? Do we have one? Oes gennym ni cyfrifoldeb? So yeah, cwestiwn da, diolch. Beth ydy'r neges? I fi, people may interpret this in different ways. For me, this poem is all about ansicrwydd. Sicr, certain, sure. Ansicr, uncertain. Ansicrwydd, uncertainty. The uncertainty of life, ansicrwydd bywyd. A sut mae ansicrwydd yn effeithio arno ni, how it affects us. Yn ein heffeithio ni, that's awful grammar, says the grammar teacher. Yn effeithio arno ni, I should say. Yn ein heffeithio ni, it works. So, sut mae ansicrwydd, sut mae bod yn, you know, ddim yn siŵr, sut mae hwnna'n effeithio ni, how does it affect us? A ydyn ni'n meddwl am deimladau, about other people's feelings, am deimladau pobl eraill, ydyn ni'n meddwl amdano. A, you know, mae yna gyfrifoldeb yna. There is a responsibility there. A responsibility for our fellow humans and responsibility towards cariad. Now then, I haven't got a great deal of time left, you'll be glad to know, and but I thought I'm going to skip this one. Hopefully, you'll have an idea of how to set out your questions, your answers. The cynnwys, the content, 25 mark, they're going to ask you to refer to, in fact, I'll go back for this. They're going to ask you to refer to an extract and even an idea out of that extract. And then they're going to ask you, well, they'll tell you to talk about the content of that extract. And then they'll tell you to tell us how it relates to the rest of the poem. And that's where it throws a lot of people. So for me, questioning, I'm looking at a page, but I'm kind of splitting it. So what is my plan of action? I'm going to look at that extract. No matter what, if they've given us an extract, I first need to place that. So I'm going to take the time before I write anything to do with poetry. I'm placing that verse. Here's one I've picked randomly here. Arholiad Cymraeg, my door. I'm pretty certain, shout at me if it's not, is that the ail bennill, the second verse of Caerdydd? Or is it third? I think it's second. Somebody shout, ail. I brif ddynas eirias hon, I dir glas ar y glas, that's the first one. Yeah, it's this one, it's second. Somebody nod at me. Yes, cool. I apologise if it's not. Fion, os ydych chi'n recordio hwn, and this is the third verse, cut me out, right? Cut this bit out. Anyway, so I'm trying to place it. I know it's in the middle. I know he's still confident in this part of the poem. I'm trying to get my head in there. My first part of this answer for the cynnwys will be, I'm trying to explain, he's confident, he's happy, he's excited, he's celebrating the Welsh language, and that's what I'm going to try and write about in the first part of this answer. Point, example, explain. The point is, he's proud of the Welsh language. What's my example via a quotation? How do I explain that? Okay, point, example, explain. Try and do that for 2 points from the extract. You've got the extract, no excuse. He's confident about the Welsh language. Give me a quotation that proves that. You could probably pick anything from that. And what's my explanation? That'll be a nice little half page, I reckon. Then becomes the tough part. What I'm thinking now is, well, what comes before that? Well, I know through revision that he's still confident in the first verse. It's very general about the city itself, but he's confident, he's happy. I'd make that point. Even in the third verse, there's still confidence, there's still excitement at the future. Men siarad am blant, talks about children, how the future is there. Fourth verse, he starts asking questions. He starts to, he mentions words like casineb, ma teimlad yn newid. Is the confidence all there? Is it total confidence? Do we them ensure? So that's how I'm trying to lay that one out. Style, of course, arddull, technegau, they're going to give you 3 of them, okay? Take time to work out what they mean and revise these words. Gyfer, flow. How am I... Oh, it's a tough one to explain, this one, isn't it? If you look at the lines here, they don't always... You don't read it like first line, second line, third line. Lerpwl, you see this a lot. You read it as... You sort of keep... The sentence goes over more than one line. It's almost as if he's trying to be... I've got a lot to say to you, and even though I've come to the end of the line here, I still want to keep talking to you. So it shows this sort of this flow, this potentially energy, this potentially happiness and excitement. It doesn't always mean that, of course, but so gyfer came up here, trosiad, metaphor. These are words I expect you to learn. And cynghanedd as well can come up, that internal rhyming, that beautiful thing that we really quite revere in Wales, this harmony between things. So my advice would be, and do you know what? I would, as part of your revision, one night before the exam, all I do is I get a past paper on my phone. I wouldn't answer any of it. I don't care which paper it is. I just get it on my phone. I'd be lying there in bed, and I would just go through the page, go through the paper. Ah, yeah, question 1. Sometimes they ask me to change the text. I remember that. Oh, they'll ask me to write a letter. I remember what that weirdo on this call said to me last week. He said, make sure that you try and get some present, past, conditional, 3 sentences, 4 sentences for each of the bullet points. Try and set out and just go through the paper, reminding yourself how to set this out, because organisation is massive in this examination. Okay, organisation, imagination, and effort. And accuracy. Those are the big things. Yes, we care about what you answer and how you answer, but these are the big things, okay? So, I orffen. I thought I'd do this a little bit gwahanol. O'n i'n meddwl sy'n ni'n neud hyn dipyn bach yn wahanol I chi. Dwi wedi dewis, right, I've chosen, dwi wedi dewis 5 o fy hoff ddyfyniadau. My favourite quotations. Yes, I have favourite quotations. Don't you? Yeah, I'm the weird one. And I tried to pick one of my favourite quotations from each of the poems. And what I'm hoping this will do for you is a little jab of revision is, hopefully it'll help you learn an extra quotation, 1 from each poem. You're welcome. And what I thought I'd do as well is I'd show you why I love it in terms of the content that is put across in that quotation and also some of the styles that are used in it. So if this poem comes up or you've learnt this quotation, well, actually, when I'm talking about the content, I know what happens here and I can use this quotation that this weirdo Doctor Cymraeg gave me. But also, if it comes up as part of the style, it's there for you as well. So, dyna'r gobaith, dwi'n gobeithio. 4 of these poems aren't coming up. So, right, Caerdydd, door i'r iaith Ar-lên. The door to the language is wide open. Door i'r iaith Ar-lên. Ah, I love that one. Content-wise, beth dwi'n meddwl. When I read this line, beth dwi'n meddwl am. Pan dwi'n darllen y llinell yma, beth dwi'n meddwl am. Mae'r croeso i'r iaith. When you go through a door, you go to a new experience, a new place. It's almost like a portal. And you can go through this door into croeso, this welcoming idea. And that for me shines through in this line. Mae croeso i'r iaith. Mae croeso I bawb. Mae pobl yn gallu dysgu Cymraeg a defnyddio Cymraeg yng Nghaerdydd. These are the connotations I'm getting. A dylai pawb fod yn hyderus, confident ac yn positif am yr iaith. And these are the things I'm getting from this line. Hope you're getting the same things. So if I ever want to make a point that in Caerdydd that there's positivity, that there's a welcome, that we should be confident, Dwr i'r iaith Ar-lên is going to be the one coming to my head. Techniques then, technegau, I can see trosiad here, metaphor. Mae dwr yn symbol I bobl ddefnyddio'r iaith, I fynd o un lle from one place I rywle arall. To go from one place to another, I fynd o un lle I rywle arall. I drio rhywbeth newydd. So, but the metaphor really exemplifies that for me. Odl, there is rhyme in this. Is it the previous one? Oh, great. There's a line that rhymes with this, I promise. So why would a poet use rhyme? To make it like a song, to make it fun, to make it excited. And that's kind of what he wants to do here. He's using a really excited language and he's using rhyme to show this. Look how happy I am. I'm so happy. I'm rhyming. It's like I'm singing a song. I'm so happy. Why does he want us to see that he's happy? Because he's happy about the state of the language. He's happy that people are learning the language. Always remember, bring it back to the message. Every single technique used in any poem you read is done on purpose. And if you remember that, find that purpose. Don't just tell me it's done for an effect. Oh, he uses rhyme because it's effective, innit? How? He uses rhyme to make something memorable, to make it excitable. Okay, what about this poem does he want us to remember and what does he want us to be excited about? He wants us to remember that the Welsh language is alive and he wants us to be excited about the fact that we can join in on that. And that's how I want you to express yourself. Tension. There is a tension here because a door can be ar agor ac ar gai. So it feels like he's sort of quietly confident in this for me. Or is it a symbol of pobl sy'n siarad Cymraeg a pobl sy'n ddim? I'm swiftly running out of time. Mynd dros y ffin yn Lerpwl. Dwi'n caru'r dyfyniad hwn. I love this quotation. With regards to content, it recognises mae'n cydnabod y ffaith bod y bardd yn mynd I rywle arall. It just typifies for me all three words in there. Mynd suggests going somewhere. Dros means over something into somewhere new. And ffin is a border. All three of those words for me are saying this guy's going somewhere different. This guy recognises it as somewhere different. And that's really what he's trying to get across here. Mae bardd yn creu teimlad o gyffro. Mae'n gyffroes I fynd I rywle newydd. And we see that in Lerpwl at the start. Mae'n gyffroes, mae'n hapus, mae'n mwynhau mynd I Lerpwl. He knows it's not his country. He knows the people are different, but he loves it there and he respects it and he loves the people and he loves the accent and he just wants us to see that. So mynd dros y ffin, I can see this holiday kind of idea. That's the content I'm getting from this. It's somewhere different, but it's somewhere I can enjoy. That's the content there. Delwedd, imagery. This is massive for me, and I think symboliaeth is something similar as well. Ffin. I see that ffin, and I think I can see that idea of two places, this quite humble rural area where everyone knows everyone. There's a shop and a pub and maybe a chippy if you're lucky, to this place where, you know, it was the capital of the world at one point. Do you know what I mean? He even mentions that. Prif ddinas y byd. This place where it welcomed people from the whole planet, where people started and ended their massive journeys that they'd never, you know, life once in a lifetime journeys. He recognizes that, and I see that, and he recognizes it as a change in his life. So he uses that imagery to make us really understand this place is amazing, but different. A mae'n symbol o'r bod Cymru a Lloegr at the time of writing oedd yn wahanol. So that's why I love that one. I'm doing this. We're finishing this. Oh, possibly my favourite quotation of all the poems. However, the next one gets me. if there's any of my lot still here, they know why I love these. Cildwrn ein cydymdeimlad. Not only is this situated as the first line of where Dewch changes, where we really stop being a celebration of global sharing, it's so hard-hitting, it's so beautifully written. Cildwrn ein cydymdeimlad. Learn this one. Content-wise, yma, mae barn y bardd, the opinion of the poet, mae barn y bardd wedi newid. Totally transformed here. Dydy o ddim yn dathlu dim mwy. The celebration has stopped. All this sharing we do, where we get we experience other cultures by sharing their foods, and we send aid to them when they need help. That celebration of global sharing is gone. And he does it in a most beautiful way. Mae bobl yn unig. These people are lonely. And we need to recognise that. So that for me is, with content-wise, big change. Dydyn ni ddim yn dathlu, a dydy'r bardd ddim yn hapus. Cynghanedd. Cildwrn ein cydymdeimlad. Oh, I wish I could write something. How can you get, right, this is why poetry is the best thing ever after grammar. How can you get a line that says that it just exemplifies such a massive change, use just the right words, and do it in strict cynghanedd? How people write this is incredible. Why would you use cynghanedd? It's memorable. I say this to mine. There was this advert, my group. There was this advert 20 years ago. It was from a fish company. And it said, make fish the dish of the day. That's cynghanedd. They don't do that advert and haven't done it for 20 years. I bet there's some adults in here nodding along here. Oh, yeah, doing coffee on her. I remember that because it's cynghanedd. Because it's memorable. So if he's using cynghanedd to say Cildwrn ein cydymdeimlad, he wants you to remember this line. Why does he want you to remember it? Because he wants us to know, do we really show cydymdeimlad? Are we really sympathetic to these people? And even if we do, it's not with an open hand, it's with a fist. Cildwrn, a tight fist, is our sympathy. Yeah, here's some money to share with you. Here's some food to share. You might have to open my hand, mind. Yeah, oh yeah, I did a grain drop out. Here you go. We're tight-fisted. Where there is profit, there is deficit. And we live in a place of profit. There are places around the world that are missing out. Tension. All of a sudden, you've got the word cydymdeimlo, sympathy, in the same line as tight-fisted. So it really why would he want to use tension here? He's showing that there's something big has happened, and we are he's really trying to ask us, are we really sympathetic? This is possibly my favourite quotation of the lot, and it's amazing. Mae'r byd ar ben yng nghanol y glaw. Content-wise, there's people who are suffering, and maen nhw wedi colli popeth. They've lost everything. Maen nhw wedi colli eu cartref, eu tŷ, eu gwaith, eu iechyd, their health, eu teulu, eu ffrindiau. For them, mae byd ar ben. The world is done, man. The world is done. Their world is finished. And then it starts raining. What a line. You described somebody perfectly. The only thing they've got is the fact they're still alive. They've lost everything. And then it rains. The content in that it's clear. These people are suffering. Mae pobl yn dioddau. It's just, yeah, it's heartbreaking. Imagery. Unfortunately, you can see this. You can see this town that is in ruins. You can see people suffering. You can see that ti'n gweld llun under ben o bobl yn y glaw with the clothes on their back. Everything else, wedi mynd, wedi colli. Ydyn ni'n cydymdeimlo? Do we sympathise? Dwi ddim yn meddwl. There's a bit of alliteration here. Again, mae'n pwysleisio. It's emphasising something really, really pwysig, really important here. It's really emphasising that mae byd ar ben. Don't forget that. for these people, the world stopped, man. Please remember that. It's using alliteration to really pwysleisio, emphasize. I'm telling you this, I'm doing it in a poetic way to make you remember that their world is done. Oh, by the way, it's raining. I'm going to leave you after this one. Diolch. I've gone slightly over, but it was me. I was always going to go over. So, dim ond. In dim ond serch. I didn't see this for years. And I've had to apologise to former students because I didn't see this. This is genius. Mae bardd yn dangos yr ansicrwydd. Okay, he shows this. This is why, realising what I'm about to tell you, proved to me that this poem is really about uncertainty. Because if you read dim ond sus as, it's only a kiss. You know, it happened once, we never saw each other again, whatever. It was only a kiss, nothing to write home about, that's all it was. It's only a kiss, dim ond sus. You can read it like that if you want, and read the whole poem, and get to the end and go, wait, did he mean dim ond sus? Nothing but a kiss. There was nothing else that mattered in the world. This massive juxtaposition, this massive tension, this ansicrwydd. Did he mean it as, it was just a smooch and you'll never remember it again anyway, blah, blah, blah. Or was there nothing else? Nothing but that in the world at that time. Dim ond gwen. It was only a smile. I smile at people all the time. That's all it was. Or dim ond gwen. There was nothing but that smile. And I just feel it's so cleverly written in that way. I think if you'd read that poem first time and go, oh, it was just a smooch, it was just they touched hands, or oh, they smiled at each other, whatever. And then you read the end where you go, do you remember this like I do? And then you read the poem again and go, oh my word, there was nothing but that in the world for this guy. And all of a sudden it becomes very romantic and, you know, it becomes a lot deeper. Love that. If you can show that shows ansicrwydd, well, obviously, ail adrodd, it's repeated all the time. It reminds us bod na ansicrwydd. Ydy ei wraig, does his wife, look back on that moment the same way he does? Does she still get excited knowing, do you remember that moment where it wasn't just a kiss, it wasn't just this? Do you still feel that excitement that you felt then? But he repeats it. Why would he use repetition? To really drive home and emphasise that there's uncertainty. Brawddeg y byrion, short sentences. Mae'n dangos bod y bardd ddim yn siŵr. I'm trying to just, I feel like this, but he's trying to use very short sentences. Again, to I pwysleisio bod na ansicrwydd. Tensiwn. Eto, mae'n a lot of tensiwn, oes, you know, it's going to give you all a complex, isn't it? Mae'n pwysleisio bod ansicrwydd y bardd yn y sefyllfa, mae'n ansicr, dwi ddim yn siŵr. Oes cariad? Dwi ddim yn siŵr. Final slide, I promise. The ymateb personol. Think about how... The ymateb personol is all about the theme of the poem. You can refer to the poem if you want, but the only advice I'm going to give you, because I'm definitely going to shut up now, if they're going to ask you to give your opinion on Dewch, talking about how much aid we give to other countries, how much we sympathise, cydymdeimlo efo pobl yn y trydydd byd, right? The Red Cross, things like this. Please don't go into that exam going, oh, the Red Cross, what do I think about them? Please have an opinion now, okay? Is the Welsh language important to you? Have an opinion on that right now. Don't sit there going, oh, Caerdydd came up, brilliant, ymateb personol. Ydy Cymraeg yn bwysig I ti? I don't know, is it important to me? Oh, I don't know, actually. No. You know what the themes are? They're going to ask you questions about it, okay? Do we care about people in the third world? Do we care about our language? Do we care about a loss of culture? Do we care about how we treat other people and how they might see things differently to us? Do we care about where we get our food from? Have answers to these questions before you go into the examination. Even if they're only in English in your head for now, okay? Have that. I will send you this PowerPoint. Do me a favour for every poem. Get a bank of important content words. Trychineb, disaster, stuff like that. Learn the types of the words for techniques, okay? Ail adrodd, trosiad, cynghanedd. Learn what they are and what they do. And form an opinion on the themes, because they're going to ask you about it. Please enjoy yourself. I know that seems silly, and you're probably laughing at me. There's a place for you to enjoy this. All I care about when my lot come to see me, I don't care what the poem was. I just said, did you express yourself? Go and show off what you can do. Yes, revise. Yes, take it seriously. Yes, use the whole 2 hours you've got, please. But enjoy yourself, express yourself, and show off. Be a bit arrogant for a bit. Right, diolch am rando, diolch yn fawr iawn. Sorry oedd o mor rushed. Os ydych chi eisiau PowerPoint, please gofyn. My lot can ask me in school if there's any still left. On anybody else, please, please, please. On diolch I bawb a pob look I bawb. You've got this. Go and smash it. Diolch Fion, dwi wedi blino, dwi'n mynd. Bye.
Diolch yn fawr. A diolch I chi gyd am ymuno efo ni hefyd. A fel nes ti sôn, if you want the PowerPoint, well, I'll send a PowerPoint to everybody that's been here because I've got a register of everybody that's been. So I can send a PowerPoint hopefully tomorrow morning if we can have it, and then we can send it on. And I think you will get a recording as well of this session, so you could go back and listen. And I definitely learned a lot. And I also yn hoffi barddoniaeth. I really like poetry. And I think you can learn...
Have I changed your mind, Fiona, or ydych chi'n hoffi barddoniaeth hefyd anyway?
O'n i yn hoffi barddoniaeth anyway. I think you can learn a lot about a lot of topics through poetry, and it's a really cool way of dysgu amdan gymaint o wahanol stuff. Felly, Stephen, diolch o galon, diolch I bawb am trefnu ni. I think it's been really useful. And there's loads of diolchs coming in and all sorts of stuff as well. So I have put in the chat as well a link. There is another session we did, I think it was 2 years ago, on Gweithdy Iaith language workshop. So that is specifically, again, for Year 12 and Year 13, Cymraeg Ail Iaith, so from Angharad Neilyn. So I put that in. I should have put that in. So if you want to have a look at that as well, you might pick up mwyn o tips a cyngor. Felly, gwych. Diolch I chi gyd. This was the only Ar-lên I think we've got for Year 12 because you've only got one exam, obviously. But if there's any teachers still here, we have got another 2 sessions for Year 13, which are short story next week, and then after half term, it's the synoptic in edrych 5 ag in edrych 6. But yeah, mwynhewch yr hael, enjoy the sun. Diolch fawr.
Diolch guys, diolch yn fawr iawn.